Welcome to What You Missed Today from Voice of Emirates, an AI-powered daily news bulletin where we bring you a concise roundup of the top stories we have covered since this morning. From local, Arab and international news to economy, entertainment, sports and lifestyle. I'm the virtual presenter for Voice of Emirates. Now, let's begin with the highlights of what you may have missed today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned a deadly Russian attack on a shopping center in his hometown of Kryvyi Rih. Ukrainian authorities say at least 16 people were killed and more than 130 wounded, including children. Zelensky described the assault as a double-tap strike, saying a second wave targeted the area after emergency crews arrived. He vowed Ukraine would respond and called on the international community to increase pressure on Moscow and hold Russia accountable. Russia's defense ministry says its forces will continue striking Ukrainian ports, maritime vessels and infrastructure it claims are supporting Kyiv's military operations. Moscow says high-precision weapons and attack drones have targeted fuel facilities and logistics routes across the Black Sea, including infrastructure around Odessa and Yuzhny. The operations come as both sides intensify long-range attacks on critical infrastructure. Ukraine has also targeted Russian oil refineries, fuel depots, and supply hubs in an effort to disrupt Moscow's military logistics. Oman and Iran have discussed conditions for resuming negotiations aimed at restoring maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Omani Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi and his Iranian counterpart, Abbas Araghchi, stressed the need for practical understandings to ensure safe and uninterrupted navigation. Technical and legal discussions are focusing on a proposed temporary shipping corridor and regulations for commercial vessels. Oman continues its mediation efforts to reduce regional tensions, while Iran says provisional arrangements do not necessarily mean a full reopening of the strategic waterway. The U.S. State Department has approved a potential $364 million arms sale to Italy, aimed at strengthening the NATO allies' air and missile defense capabilities. The proposed package includes more than 5,000 APKWS-2 precision guidance systems, along with launchers, warheads, rocket motors, and technical support. Washington says the equipment will enhance Italy's ability to counter current and emerging threats and improve NATO defense integration. BAE Systems will serve as the principal contractor, while the deal remains subject to final agreements and required procedures. And from the political news, Natalie Harp, one of President Donald Trump's closest aides, is drawing attention in Washington for her constant presence at his side and her growing role inside his inner circle. Known as Trump's shadow and the human printer, Harp helps organize information, prints news and other material for the president, and monitors messages reaching him. Reports say senior officials sometimes contact Harp when they cannot reach Trump directly, highlighting her unusual level of access and influence within the White House. California Democrat Aisha Wahab has made history by winning a special election for the U.S. House of Representatives, becoming the first person of Afghan descent elected to Congress. Wahab secured the seat previously held by Eric Swalwell, marking another milestone in a political career that began on the Hayward City Council before she joined the California State Senate in 2022. Her victory carries particular significance for Afghan American and Muslim communities, while setting up another electoral contest for a full congressional term in November. Pakistan's military chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has met Syrian Foreign Minister Asa'ad Hassan al-Shaibani at military headquarters in Rawalpindi. The talks focused on regional security and expanding bilateral defense and security cooperation. Munir highlighted the long-standing ties between Pakistan and Syria and called for greater collaboration to address common security challenges. Al-Shaibani praised Pakistan's armed forces for their role in promoting regional stability. Both sides agreed to strengthen bilateral relations and expand future engagement in defense and security. And from the business news, the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange has achieved a 99% compliance rate for the disclosure of audited financial statements for the first half of 2026. 100 of the 101 actively traded listed companies submitted their financial statements within the required legal timeframe of 45 days. ADX currently has 104 listed companies, with 3 suspended from trading for more than 6 months. The exchange also reported that aggregate profits of listed companies increased by 38% compared with the first half of 2025. UAE stock markets ended the latest trading week with mixed performance. The Dubai Financial Market Index gained 0.29% to close at 5,856 points, while the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange Index declined 0.7% to 10,004 points. In Dubai, DU shares rose 3%, while Salama Insurance gained nearly 8%. In Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank and ADNOC Logistics and Services advanced, while First Abu Dhabi Bank declined 1%. Total market liquidity reached approximately 1.27 billion dirhams. Al Hudayriyat Island has topped Abu Dhabi's real estate market by sales value for the second consecutive quarter. According to the Abu Dhabi Real Estate Centre's first half 2026 report, the island recorded sales worth 19 billion dirhams, representing 27% of total residential sales in the Emirate. Saadiyat Island ranked second, with 13.3 billion dirhams, followed by Al Reem and Al Maria Islands, with a combined 10.5 billion. Yas Island recorded 7.3 billion dirhams in sales, highlighting strong demand across Abu Dhabi's key investment destinations. Borouge has approved an interim dividend of 2.41 billion dirhams for the first half of 2026, equivalent to 8.1 files per share. The company also reaffirmed plans to distribute a total dividend of 16.2 files per share for the full year, with the final payment expected in the second quarter of 2027. Since its IPO in June 2022, Borouge has distributed around 18 billion dirhams to shareholders. The company is now part of Borouge International, the world's fourth largest polyolefins producer by production capacity. We conclude our roundup with the top sports news stories you might have missed. Al Nassr secured their first victory of the new ADNOC Pro League season, defeating Al Wahda 1-0 at Al Maktoum Stadium in the second round. After Abdullah Toure missed a first-half penalty, Al Nassr were awarded another spot kick in the 54th minute, which Chris Bedia converted to score the only goal. Al Wahda pushed for an equalizer and made 4 substitutions, but Al Nassr held firm to claim all 3 points. The victory takes Al Nassr to 4 points, while Al Wahda remain without a point after 2 matches. Al Wasl continued their perfect start to the ADNOC Pro League season, with a convincing 3-0 victory away to Kalba in the second round. Ali Saleh opened the scoring from the penalty spot in the 18th minute, before Nicolas Jimenez doubled the advantage just 4 minutes later. Kalba attempted to respond after the break, but Al Wasl remained in control, with Renato Jr. adding the third goal in the 79th minute. The victory takes the Emperor to 6 points and temporarily puts them top of the league standings. "50 Emirati runners are set to participate in the second edition of the Zayed Charity Race in Brazil, taking place on August 23rd at Flamengo Beach in Rio de Janeiro. The event will feature professional athletes, amateur runners, and families competing in 5 and 10-kilometer races. Registration proceeds will support the Criança Esperança program, which promotes education, culture, and social inclusion for children and young people. Total prize money for this year's edition exceeds 500,000 Brazilian reais. That was your roundup of what you may have missed today from Voice of Emirates. For the full stories, visit our website and follow us on social media for the latest updates. Thank you for watching. See you next time.